I am a survivor of rape, molestation, sexual abuse from a very young age. And from a very young age, it was made to seem like it was my fault that it happened. There was nobody there to protect me. There was nobody there to let me know that what happened to me was wrong and that no adult should be sexually involved with a child. Those conversations didn't happen. I didn't get taught anything about my body. Everything I learned about myself sexually, I learned from an adult that was sexually involved with me as a child, or books that I read to make sure I knew my body and understood what was going on with my body. At a very young age, I was called a bitch and a whore by my own mother. So hearing it from strangers on the street didn't mean anything to me. And I grew up having thick skin eventually because I got tired of crying about the things that people were saying about me. I was very promiscuous as a teenager because I felt like I had been exposed to sex so young. I felt like that's all I was made for. That's all I was good for. Men were eyeing me from the time I was like 12, 13 years old. And I didn't have anybody there to protect me or to tell me that these men that are targeting me are users and abusers and don't give a fuck about me. Instead, what happened was adults and other children would hear rumors, whether they be true or not, they would hear these rumors about me. And adults would call me out my name. Adults would spread rumors about me. Adults in my community would call me a whore and call me a bitch and call me a sket and call me nasty and dirty and all these different things. They would never say the men that are targeting this young girl are fucked up and they're rapists and they're pedophiles. No, they would blame me. I had older women wanting to fight me for their husbands, for their boyfriends, that I wasn't even looking after, that I wasn't even trying to go after. I was a threat. A 13, 14, 15-year-old teenage girl. I was a threat to older women. Instead of them holding their boyfriends and their husbands, their grown-ass men accountable for their actions, it was easier for them to look over those men and try to fight me, a teenage girl. That's how fucked up our society is. I didn't even feel safe walking home from school because from the time I walking home from school, these men in the corner sitting down staring at you. And we hear all the time, oh, is why you wearing and all this shit. But I was in a school uniform. And my school uniform, my skirt used to be to my knees. So to tell me as a child that I'm doing something to attract these men to me is beyond crazy, beyond insane. And the adults, a lot of the adults on island have that mentality and they spew that type of language. And for the life of me, I can't understand how we can look at a child, a teenage girl, a teenage boy, and say that they're fast and that they're chasing big man and big woman. These are children. These children don't know anything about the world except that what they're being exposed to, what they're being taught, what they see. It is so much easier for people, the adults in our community, to look at their friends, government officials, teachers, police officers, the hessman them. It's easier to overlook them because you know them, you're cool with them. There's your partner, there's your buddy, that's your homegirl, that's your cousin. It's easier for you to overlook them and blame children for adults taking away their innocence and using them. There is no excuse for it whatsoever. There's no excuse for blaming children for adults taking advantage of them. Children wouldn't know sex unless they're exposed to it. Who's exposing the children to sex? Who's exposing the children to the act of chasing adults for sexual pleasure? Where are they learning it from? We have to take accountability as adults in our communities and realize that we are the fucking problem. Our community enables rape culture. And it needs to stop. And until we start having these conversations in the open and holding these adults accountable for the shit that they've been doing for years, You see them in front of complex in their big cars, attracting certain type of girls, targeting certain type of girls. And I know this because I was one of them girls. So I'm talking from personal experience. Luckily for me, I was able to know that I deserved better and left the island to figure out me as a person. And luckily for me, I didn't get pregnant for nobody. I didn't have to get any abortions. I took care of my body and I learned the things I needed to learn in order to survive in a fucked up environment. The young girl, the young boy, that society has failed. To the ones that the adults have called out of their names. To the young boy and the young girl that was not protected by the adults in their neighborhoods, the adults in their households. To the young boy and the young girl who were violated by the adults that they thought were supposed to be there to protect them, to teach them. You are not alone. You are not what they call you. You are not what they did to you. Those adults failed you miserably. And none of what happened to you is your fault. I can't save you, and nobody's going to come to save you. Unfortunately, we live in a fucked up society that will prioritize saving misogyny, rape culture, and popularity than saving the innocence of our children. And it is so unfortunate. I can't save you from that. But what I can do is let you know that you are not alone in this. And there are adults like me who know and understand what you're going through. Again, I can't help you and I can't save you, but what I can tell you is that there is light at the end of the tunnel. And you're going to have to save yourself. Just because the adults in your neighborhood or in your community failed you doesn't mean that all hope is lost. There are organizations out there on St. Croix that are there to assist you or to guide you in the right place when it comes to therapy and dealing with those traumatic experiences. There are people that you can talk to report what happened to you. There's the family clinic. Like, there's so many things. There's resources for you out there. And I'm going to use my platform to help you, to guide you in that direction, okay? So on St. Croix, I know of Beautiful Dreamers Behavioral and Educational Center. That's Beautiful Dreamers Behavioral and Educational Center. They offer mental health services for children and adults in the community. Go online, look them up, get in contact with them. If you feel like you need help, that something traumatic happened to you, you were sexually assaulted, you were molested, and you feel like you need to talk to somebody because it'll help you to heal from what you've been through, contact Beautiful Dreamers. Again, that's Beautiful Dreamers Behavioral and Educational Center. There is Greater Changes. They also deal with mental health in the community, the nonprofit organization. Women's Coalition of St. Croix, they deal with sexual assault, domestic violence in the community. You can talk to somebody there. You can call them or you can go in person, but I would recommend calling them first. And then you have Family Planning, the Family Planning Clinic, and it's located in the Department of Health. Get tested. That's where you can go to get tested. And if you don't have insurance, they'll be able to help you out with that. I know they have like birth control options, and they'll give you free condoms and education about taking care of your body and knowing about STDs and avoiding pregnancy and all those things. Learn about your reproductive body as a boy and a girl, okay? So again, these are places on St. Croix that you can go for help. I know the other adults failed you, but fuck them. We ain't talking about them. These are the people that you can go to for assistance. These are the people that you're supposed to be able to go to get guidance and to help you heal through these traumatic experiences, okay? There's dedicated people for these things. Take care of yourself. Again, nobody else is going to save you. The people in your community failed you. But that don't mean you have to be a failure. That don't mean you have to become a statistic. I didn't become a statistic. There's people that you may see on an everyday basis and you don't know that they've been through the same thing that you have. But just because they're not talking about it, that don't mean that it's not happening. And it doesn't mean that you shouldn't be heard. And it doesn't mean that you can't heal from it. You can heal from it. You can overcome it. You can grow despite it. You can be successful despite it, okay? And I hope this information helped somebody, you know, to speak their truth. Report it, go to the police and report it. Tell somebody that you feel like you can trust, and hopefully they'll guide you in the right direction. Adults, we gotta start doing better. We gotta start really doing better when it comes to protecting our children and allowing our children's voices to be heard. It needs to stop. It needs to stop like yesterday.